My family invited me to a birthday dinner, but didn't save me a seat. My golden sister laughed, "This is for family who are actually around." The next day, they sent me a $1,750 Venmo request, so I cut them off. Hey guys, this is going to be a long one, but I swear it's worth the read. Just created this throwaway because my sister found my main account, and I don't need that drama right now. Alright, so for some background, 26 male, I've always been the forgotten son in my family. Not like actually invisible, but might as well have been with how my parents treated me compared to my sister Bailey, 21 female. Growing up, it was always Bailey this and Bailey that, while I was just existing in the background. Like, I remember this one time in high school. I won first place in this statewide programming competition. Like, legit beat out kids from all the fancy tech-focused private schools. Came home with this big-ass trophy, and my parents were like, "Oh, that's nice, honey. Did you hear Bailey made the volleyball team? Not even varsity, JV volleyball." And they took her out for ice cream that night while I stayed home eating leftover pizza. Shit like that happened constantly. Let me give you a little more backstory about our family dynamic. My parents weren't always like this. When I was really young, like before Bailey was born when I was 5, my dad and I were tight. We'd go fishing, work on his old Mustang together, normal father-son stuff. Mom would read me bedtime stories and put little notes in my lunchbox. Then Bailey came along when I was 5, and everything changed. Bailey was born with some minor health issues. Nothing life-threatening, just some respiratory stuff that meant she needed extra doctor visits for the first couple years. I get that scared my parents, and they had to give her more attention. That's totally understandable. But even after she was perfectly healthy, the pattern stuck. It was like they'd learned to see her as the fragile one who needed all their focus, and me as the strong one who would be fine no matter what. By middle school, it was pretty obvious I was on my own emotionally. I was the kid who got himself up for school, made his own lunches, and figured out how to get to soccer practice on the city bus, because mom and dad were always at Bailey's dance recitals or whatever. I became super self-sufficient out of necessity. Things didn't get better as we got older either. When I busted my ass to get a full ride to college, my parents were just like, "That's nice," and then spent the next hour talking about Bailey's weekend plans. When I landed my first real job right after graduation, crickets. But Bailey gets hired at a smoothie shop for summer work? Time to celebrate the family genius. What's even more messed up? I've been paying a fat chunk of Bailey's college tuition, like $1,800 a month for the past 3 years. Why? Because I've done well for myself. Got a good job in tech right out of college, made some smart investments that paid off, bought a decent condo in a nice area. Meanwhile, my parents and Uncle Rick, Bailey's biggest fan, keep acting like I owe the family this money since I have so much to spare. The worst part is that I kept paying it, thinking maybe they'd finally see me as valuable. Here's how the whole paying for Bailey's college thing started. After finishing my CS degree, which I got on full scholarship plus working part-time at the campus IT department, I landed a sweet gig at a tech startup. 6 months in, we got acquired by a bigger company, and all early employees got retention bonuses. Nothing crazy life-changing, but definitely a nice chunk of change, like $45,000. I made the mistake of mentioning this to my parents at Sunday dinner. My dad literally sat me down after my first big bonus and was like, "Your sister needs help with college and you're doing so well now. Your mother and I just don't have the funds to give her the education she deserves." What was I supposed to say? No? These are the people who raised me, even if they did a shit job of making me feel like I mattered. Plus, I just gotten this windfall and did have the money sitting there. So I said yes, thinking it would be a one-time thing to help them get started with her freshman year. But then Dad came back with, "Actually, we were thinking you could cover the tuition payments." When I asked how much, he said about $1,800 a month. I almost choked. That's more than my mortgage. But they gave me this whole guilt trip about how Bailey wasn't as lucky as I was, because apparently my scholarships were luck and not the result of busting my ass for straight A's. So I agreed, thinking it might finally earn me some actual recognition in the family. And it became expected. Every month for 3 years, $1,800 transferred from my account to Bailey's University. That's over $64,000 total. Did I get a thank you? Rarely. Did my parents ever acknowledge the sacrifice? Nope. Did Bailey act grateful? Hell no. She'd post these TikToks about her shopping sprees and weekend trips while I'm over here working 50+ hours a week to afford my life and help with hers. I know how this sounds. Like I'm some jealous dude who can't handle his sister getting attention. But trust me, it went way deeper than that. This wasn't just about attention. It was about feeling like you literally don't matter to your own family unless your wallet is open. So anyway, last weekend is when shit really hit the fan. My mom called me up a few days before saying they were having a small family dinner for Uncle Rick's birthday on Saturday, and it would mean so much if I could come. I should have known better, for real. They never invite me to anything unless it's somehow about Bailey, or they need me to pay for something. But like an idiot, I thought maybe this time would be different. Uncle Rick and I used to be cool when I was younger, before he joined the Bailey fan club. He taught me how to fish, helped me build my first computer, all that uncle-y stuff. So I said, yeah, I'd be there. I even bought Uncle Rick a nice gift. This vintage fishing lure set I found online that matched the ones he used to talk about from when he was a kid. Cost me like $200, but I thought it would be meaningful. Shows how much of a clown I am. When I rolled up to the restaurant, I knew I'd been played. The place was packed with people. My parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, all sitting around this long-ass table with decorations everywhere. This wasn't just Uncle Rick's birthday. It was yet another Bailey showcase. Then I saw the sign, "Happy Birthday, Uncle Rick, and congrats, Bailey." I had to clench my jaw to keep from saying something I'd regret. Of course they'd hijack someone's birthday to make it about her. Again. I tried to find somewhere to sit. But get this, Bailey looks up at me with this smug-ass grin and goes, "Oh, didn't expect you to actually show." Loud enough for everyone to hear. My mom just gave me this nervous look. "Well, she started, but Bailey cut her off with this annoying laugh. "I mean, this is for family who are actually around," she said, gesturing at the table where every single chair was taken. Everyone was already eating appetizers and drinking. Even Uncle Rick was beaming at her like she hung the moon. That's when it hit me. There wasn't even a seat saved for me. They literally didn't plan on me being there, even though they invited me. I scanned the whole table twice to make sure I wasn't missing something. "There's nowhere for me to sit," I said to my mom, who couldn't even look me in the eye. "We weren't sure you'd come," she mumbled, fiddling with her napkin. "You're so busy these days." Bailey laughed again. "Or care enough to show up." "Yeah, the stuff they never tell me about until after it happens." "Cool." My dad finally notices what's going on and goes, "We can ask the server to bring another chair." But he says it in this way that makes it clear it's a huge inconvenience. Like I'm crashing their party instead of being an invited guest. I look around at all these faces, people who are supposedly my family, and not one of them looks bothered by the fact that no one saved me a seat. No one's moving to make space. No one's offering their chair. They're all just staring at me like I'm the problem. Turns out the whole thing was half Uncle Rick's birthday and half celebrating Bailey getting accepted to some summer internship program, something any college junior could apply for. But my family acted like she'd cured cancer or something. Meanwhile, I've been paying a huge chunk of her tuition bills and never even got a thanks, bro. I stood there awkwardly for a second, still trying to figure out if they were seriously not going to acknowledge the fact I had nowhere to sit. Feeling eyes on me, I finally turned toward Bailey and asked, forcing calm into my voice, "You really couldn't have saved me a single seat?" Bailey looks at me, rolling her eyes dramatically as if I'd ruined her evening just by existing. "I mean, you're never at family stuff," she says. "Besides," she continued, loud enough so everyone could hear her, "it's not like he's ever happy for me anyway. Remember when I made the dean's list last semester? I posted about it, and he didn't even comment. It's probably because he's jealous I'm finally succeeding." I felt heat rise to my face. The dean's list she was bragging about was literally the semester I'd paid extra, out of my own pocket, to cover the special tutoring she'd demanded, because she was too stressed by regular classes. And here she was, playing victim, acting like I'd never supported her at all. Uncle Rick chuckled and leaned towards her, patting her shoulder proudly. "Ignore him, sweetheart," he said loud enough for the table. "Some people just can't handle when the spotlight isn't on them for once." He poked me as if trying to convince me that he's just joking. Bailey laughed again, clearly loving the attention. She glanced back up at me with a smug little smirk. "Oh, by the way," she added casually, twirling her hair around her finger, "I really need you to be quicker with tuition next month. They sent me an annoying late notice this time, and it's honestly super embarrassing. If you're gonna do it, could you at least do it right?" My jaw tightened as disbelief and anger competed inside me. I'd never been late once. Not one single payment in 3 whole years. And she dared complain publicly, like I was her personal assistant who'd messed up her coffee order. The entire table was staring at me now, some amused, others awkwardly avoiding eye contact. Mom just fiddled with her fork, while Dad pretended to check the menu again, both silent as usual. Bailey, sensing she'd hit a nerve, turned back to her food, smiling victoriously as if she'd just won a game she loved playing. I should have lost it right there. Should have thrown my wallet at them and walked out. But I just nodded, said, okay, turned around and left. Didn't even look back. The gift for Uncle Rick stayed in my car, and nobody even tried to stop me. As I walked to my car, I made my decision. Not another penny for Bailey's education. Not one more dollar. I figured I'd get at least a few texts asking where I went, but nope. Radio silence for the rest of the night. Like me leaving didn't even register on their radar. I checked social media later that night and saw Bailey had posted pics from the dinner with captions like, "Best night with my real family," and a group photo where everyone was squished together at the table. A table that clearly had no room for me by design. I ordered a pizza, cracked open a soda, and binged Fallout on Amazon. Because F it, at least the wasteland makes more sense than my family. While I was sitting there wallowing in my own self-pity, I started scrolling through old photos on my phone. Found this pic from my college graduation, just me in my cap and gown, standing alone. My parents and Bailey couldn't make it, because Bailey had some volleyball tournament that weekend. Uncle Rick was supposed to come, but texted last minute about a work emergency. I ended up celebrating with my roommates instead. Looking back, that was a big red flag I should have paid attention to. Then the next day, my phone pings around 2 p.m. I check it and nearly choke on my coffee. It was a Venmo request from my mom for $1,750 with the description Uncle Rick's birthday dinner plus Bailey's celebration. Not even a text first. Not even a, hey, sorry there wasn't a seat for you last night. Just a straight-up money request like I was the waiter who forgot to bring the check. And that's when it hit me. Not as a surprise, but as confirmation. The freaking audacity. This was exactly how they saw me. Not a son, not a brother, not even a guest. Just a wallet on legs. I sat there staring at the screen. Not even mad at first, just stunned. Like they couldn't be bothered to save me a chair, but they remembered to invoice me? I mean, who needs enemies when your own family sends you a Venmo request like you're their damn sponsor? But the longer I stared at it, the more the numbness started to boil. This wasn't just about money. It was about respect, about being treated like a backup generator for everyone else's lives. Always on standby, always expected to give, but never expected to feel. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel guilt. I felt powerful. That $1,750 request wasn't just a bill. It was the last straw. And I was done being the guy who swallowed it just to keep the peace. Not this time. 5 minutes later, my mom called. Hey, I answer coldly. Did you see my Venmo request? She asks, skipping any greeting. Yeah, I saw it. So when are you going to pay it? The restaurant's already charged my card. I actually laugh out loud. I'm not. There's a pause. What do you mean you're not? I mean, I'm not paying for a dinner I wasn't even welcome at. Don't be ridiculous, she snaps. Of course you were welcome. We invited you, didn't we? There wasn't even a chair for me, Mom. Well, we weren't sure you'd show up. You're so busy these days. I take a deep breath. And yet you still expect me to pay the bill? You've always helped out with family expenses, she says, like it's obvious. You're doing so well financially. And this was a special occasion for Bailey and Uncle Rick. Right, I say, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Another special occasion for Bailey. What a rare event. Don't be petty, Mom says. It's not attractive. Know what else isn't attractive? Treating your son like an ATM while not even saving him a seat at the table. She sighs dramatically. We're family. We help each other. You know Bailey doesn't have what you have. Yeah, and whose fault is that? I've been paying $1,800 a month towards her tuition for 3 years. Did anyone even remember to say thanks? That's different, Mom says. That's your sister's education. And this was just another excuse to celebrate Bailey. Let Uncle Rick pay for it. He's her biggest fan anyway. There's a pause, then Mom says, Your father wants to talk to you. I hear some shuffling, then Dad's voice. Son, this attitude isn't like you. Maybe it should have been, I reply. Maybe if I'd stood up for myself sooner, you all would have stopped taking advantage. Nobody's taking advantage, he says, sounding offended. We're just asking you to chip in for a family celebration. A celebration I wasn't even welcome at, I remind him. And by chip in, you mean pay the entire $1,750 bill. Your sister just got an amazing opportunity, Dad says, ignoring what I just said. And Uncle Rick has always been so supportive of her. Yeah, I noticed, I say sarcastically. It's wild how he had time to make it to all her high school plays, but somehow missed my college graduation. That's not fair, Dad says. He had a work thing. Right, a work thing. Just like you guys had a memory thing, when you couldn't remember to save me a seat at the table. Dad sighs. Look, we know you've been generous with Bailey's tuition, and we appreciate that. Do you, though? I cut him off. Because it feels like you just expect it. Like it's my job to fund your golden child while you all throw parties I'm not really invited to. That's not how it is. Really? Then why is it that I've paid over $60,000 toward her education, and I still get treated like I'm not part of this family? Silence. That's what I thought, I say. Well, here's what's gonna happen. I'm not paying for Uncle Rick's dinner. I'm not paying Bailey's tuition anymore either. You can't do that, Mom shouts in the background. I laugh. Watch me. You want Bailey to finish college? Tell Uncle Rick to pay for it. He makes six figures at his law firm. Or maybe you and Dad can figure it out for once instead of relying on me. You're being ridiculous and disrespectful, Dad says, but I can hear the panic in his voice. No, what's ridiculous is expecting me to bankroll a family that doesn't even respect me enough to save me a chair. I take a deep breath. So here's the deal. You can handle Bailey's college costs, or let precious Uncle Rick do it. Either way, my wallet is closed. Permanently. Dad's voice gets serious. Son, you need to think about what you're doing here. This isn't just about one dinner. You're right, I say. It's about years of me being treated like I don't matter unless you need my money. That's not true, he protests, but it sounds weak even to him. Oh, really? When's the last time you celebrated anything I accomplished? When I got that promotion last year, did anyone suggest going out to dinner? When I closed on my condo, did anyone offer to help me move in? Hell, when's the last time you called me just to see how I'm doing without asking for money? More silence. I've been paying Bailey's tuition because I thought that's what family does. But family also respects each other. Family makes sure everyone has a seat at the table. Literally and figuratively. Mom grabs the phone again. So you're just going to abandon your sister? Let her drop out of college? Hell yeah, I'm abandoning her and you too, I said, surprising myself. And I'm no longer setting myself on fire to keep everyone else warm. Bailey's education is your effing responsibility, not mine. I was helping out of kindness, and you all took advantage of that. We never asked you to pay her tuition, Mom says. The gaslighting was real. Are you serious right now? Dad literally sat me down after my first big bonus and said, and I quote, "Your sister needs help with college and you're doing so well now." What was I supposed to say? That was a suggestion, not an order, she tries. I laugh again. Right. Just like this Venmo request is a suggestion? Give me a break. You guys have been guilting me into paying for Bailey for years, and I'm done with it. You're going to regret this, Mom says, her voice cold. Don't come crying to us when you need something. When have I ever come crying to you for anything? I ask. I've been handling my shit on my own since I was 17. You made sure of that. I hang up before she can respond. For the next 2 days, my phone blows up with texts and calls from the whole family. My parents, Bailey, Uncle Rick, even cousins I barely talk to, all suddenly very concerned about my attitude problem and how I'm hurting Bailey's future. Bailey sends me this long-ass text about how I'm ruining her life and being selfish, and how she always looked up to me, which is news to me. Uncle Rick calls and leaves a voicemail about how disappointed he is in me and how he expected better. My dad texts that we need to talk like men about this situation. My mom just keeps sending Venmo requests, each with increasingly guilt-trippy descriptions like, Bailey's future depends on this, and family supports family. None of them, not one, acknowledges the actual issue, that they invited me to a dinner and didn't even save me a seat, that they treat me like an outsider unless they need my money, that they've been taking advantage of me for years. Then I check Facebook, and that's when I really lose it. My mom's posted this long sob story. As a mother, sometimes your heart breaks when your children make choices you don't understand. Our son has always been blessed with success, while our daughter has needed more support to find her way. Recently, he's decided to withdraw financial support for his sister's education over a simple misunderstanding at a family dinner. We're devastated that he would punish his sister this way when she's just starting to thrive. Please keep our family in your thoughts as we try to figure out how to keep Bailey in school. The comments are full of people calling me selfish, heartless, a terrible brother. Bailey posted too. Never thought my own brother would try to ruin my future because his feelings got hurt. Guess money changes people. Uncle Rick jumped in with, some people don't understand what family means. Always thought better of him. My inbox was flooding with messages from relatives and family friends. How could you do this to Bailey? Your poor parents. I thought you were better than this. I'm sitting there looking at my phone, feeling my blood pressure spike. No mention of how they've treated me for years. Just me being painted as the villain because I finally stood up for myself. Time to go nuclear. I pulled up my banking records, screenshot 3 years of monthly payments to Bailey's university. I find the texts where my parents suggested I start paying. I dig up old messages where I told them about achievements, and they barely responded. I even find a photo from last Christmas where everyone got gifts except me. Oh, we didn't know what you'd want, was the excuse. I found the email I got when I was promoted to senior developer last year, which I forwarded to my parents with great news in the subject line. Their response: "That's nice. By the way, Bailey needs money for textbooks this semester." I find the invitation to my condo warming party that none of them showed up to because Bailey had a cold. Not even the flu, just a cold. I found the credit card statement from 2 Christmases ago when I spent over $600 on thoughtful gifts for my family. A nice watch for dad, he'd mentioned is broke, a spa day package for mom, and concert tickets for Bailey to see her favorite band. My gift from them? A $25 Amazon gift card that still had "from Uncle Rick and Aunt Linda" crossed out on the envelope. They literally regifted me something they didn't want. Even worse, I find screenshots of Bailey's Instagram stories flexing her spring break trip to Cancun last year, a trip that happened right after I sent an extra $2,000 when my parents said Bailey was struggling financially and might have to drop out if she couldn't pay for some essential school fees. Meanwhile, she's posting pics doing shots at Senor Frogs with the caption, "College life is tough." I dig up texts from when I had my appendix removed last year and was in the hospital for 3 days. My parents sent a single, "Hope you feel better soon" text and never visited even though they live 40 minutes away. Their excuse? Bailey had midterms and they needed to be there for her during this stressful time. I was literally recovering from emergency surgery alone. The more I look, the more evidence I find of this one-sided relationship. It's not just in my head. It's documented in countless texts, emails, and social media posts. A whole digital record of being treated like an afterthought by the people who are supposed to care about me most. Then I posted the truth. Paid $1,800 per month for my sister's tuition. 3 years. Over $60,000. No thanks, no recognition. Thought that's what family did. Showed up to a dinner I was invited to. No seat, no place, just a Venmo request the next day for $1,750. That's not family. That's freeloading with a guest list. I'm not the family wallet anymore. They didn't save me a seat. Now they don't get a cent. Simple. Attached screenshots. Tuition payments, text messages, every ignored milestone, and every time they reached for my wallet, but not the phone. Then I hit post. Within hours, the tide starts turning. People who'd been criticizing me start backpedaling. "I had no idea you'd been paying so much. Why didn't your parents mention this?" Even some of my cousins reach out privately. "Dude, I always wondered why they treated you different." My cousin Megan, who I was always pretty close with growing up, calls me that night. "I had no idea you were the one paying Bailey's tuition," she says. "The way your mom talked about it, I thought they were working extra jobs or something." "Nope," I tell her. "Just me working one job and handing over a big chunk of my paycheck every month." "And that dinner? That was messed up," she says. "I wasn't there, but my mom was. And she said it was weird how they didn't have a seat for you." "Yeah, well, apparently I was only invited to foot the bill," I say. "I'm sorry," Megan says. "That's really shitty of them." It's the first genuine apology I've gotten from anyone in my family, and even though Megan wasn't responsible, it still means something. Bailey tries damage control. He's twisting everything to make himself look good. He's always been jealous of me, and now he's trying to ruin my life. I posted a screenshot of my bank statement showing the monthly $1,800 payments with her university's name on them. Facts don't care about your feelings, sis. Uncle Rick posts some rant about airing family laundry and how real men handle things privately, but gets ratioed to hell. I respond publicly. Real men also show up to their nephew's college graduation instead of making excuses. But what would I know? My parents go silent. Radio silence. Not a text, not a call, nothing. 3 days after dropping my post announcing the end of my role as the family ATM, I finally did what I should have done a long time ago. No dramatics, no lengthy phone calls, no empty threats. I opened up my laptop, logged into Bailey's university tuition portal, and stared for a moment at the balance I'd carried on my back like Atlas for the past 3 years. Then, calmly, I clicked Cancel Autopay. I removed my bank account details and deleted every trace of my financial information. The little window popped up with, "Are you sure you want to remove this account?" Damn right, I was sure. I confirmed it and watched the screen reload. Payment method? None. Financial sponsor? None. My name vanished from their billing system like it had never been there at all. I sat back in my chair, sipping coffee and enjoying the silence. Honestly, I thought I might feel guilty, but instead I felt damn good. This was long overdue. But I knew Bailey wouldn't let it end there. A few hours later, my phone started lighting up with notifications. 3 missed calls and a flurry of texts from Bailey popped up in quick succession. What the hell? Did you seriously stop the payments? They're threatening to drop me from my classes if tuition isn't paid by tomorrow. This isn't funny. Call me. Funny thing, for someone who didn't think I'd show up to a dinner, Bailey sure seemed confident I'd keep showing up to pay her bills. I ignored every single message. She didn't deserve a single reply. Besides, I'd already made it clear in my post. Let Uncle Rick, the family cheerleader, step up. And sure enough, within hours, Bailey took the bait. She must have panicked hard, realizing the gravy train had finally come to a grinding halt, because Uncle Rick suddenly found himself in the hot seat. How do I know? Because the next text I got from Bailey was equal parts hilarious and pathetic. Uncle Rick isn't answering my calls or texts. Can you please just fix this one last time? Oh, how the mighty had fallen. Her precious uncle, who loved showing up to her volleyball matches and recitals, but conveniently missed my graduation, ghosted her at the first sign of financial responsibility. Predictable, but satisfying as hell. My parents weren't far behind. My phone rang again. Mom this time. She left an angry voicemail demanding to know what game I thought I was playing, shouting something about Bailey's future being in jeopardy. Still no apologies, still no accountability, just entitlement. I listened to it exactly once, chuckled softly, and hit delete. I felt no obligation to bail them out again. Then Dad chimed in via text, still playing the guilt card. Son, this is serious. Bailey could lose her place at college. Family doesn't abandon family. I fired back one reply cold and simple. You taught me exactly what abandonment looks like. Blocked his number immediately after. No hesitation. In the following days, the reality started setting in. Bailey was scrambling, desperately trying to save face. Mutual friends messaged me, sending screenshots of her Instagram rants about fake family and cryptic sob stories about trust issues. But privately, she kept frantically reaching out, begging friends, cousins, anyone who might front her tuition money. One cousin even messaged me, amused by her desperation. Bailey asked me for a small loan of $1,800. Told her I'd think about it. Thought you'd appreciate the heads up. I replied with just a laughing emoji. Karma's funny like that. Eventually, Uncle Rick resurfaced long enough to send me exactly one passive-aggressive text. Hope you're satisfied with the drama you've caused. I didn't hesitate with my reply. You ghosted Bailey faster than you ditched my graduation. Proud of you. Then I blocked him too. It felt damn good. About a week later, Aunt Linda dropped by unexpectedly. She'd always been the one relative who seemed to have her head on straight. Over coffee, she finally let me in on a secret she'd held back for years. You remember Thanksgiving when you won that science fair? Linda asked. Vaguely, I shrugged. I was what, 10? You were glowing. Couldn't wait to show everyone your medal. But every time you tried, your mom would jump in and gush about Bailey's latest recital. Afterward, I called her out on it. Told her she was damaging you. I leaned forward. What did she say? Linda sighed, rolling her eyes. Said you were strong and independent. Didn't need the praise. Bailey was a special, she said, and needed encouragement. We didn't speak for months after that. Hearing that didn't even sting anymore. It just confirmed what I'd already known deep down. I wasn't imagining anything. In the following weeks, things began settling. Bailey eventually figured something out. Rumor had it she dropped to part-time classes and took on a part-time job at a coffee shop near campus. My parents continued their Facebook theatrics, cryptically lamenting the pains of parenthood, conveniently leaving out how they treated me like a disposable ATM. As for me, I didn't look back. I used that extra $1,800 a month to finally do things for myself. Booked a solo trip to Japan. Started mentoring high school kids. Teaching them coding. Students who valued every second of guidance. My therapist praised the boundaries I'd set. But honestly, I didn't need anyone's validation anymore. Last weekend, I had a BBQ at my place. Nothing fancy, just good friends, burgers, and genuine laughs. At one point, someone asked, "Ever regret pulling the plug?" I took a slow sip of my drink, then shook my head. Only regret is not doing it sooner. Later that night, my phone buzzed again. A DM from Zoe, Bailey's best friend, saying Bailey was still bad-mouthing me, claiming I was heartless, controlling, even cruel. Zoe ended it with, "I never believed her. And after seeing your post, it's obvious she's just spoiled. Glad you stood up for yourself." I smiled, deleted the message without replying, and leaned back in my chair. It felt right. The final door had closed behind me, and the silence was golden. So maybe I'm still the villain in their story, but in mine, I'm the guy who finally learned to stop funding disrespect. And damn, It feels good.